Hey, friends! Welcome to the Knights of Prospect, the improvised role playing adventure. I am Whitney Hawkins, aka Hazel Pippet, your very polite uh, mountain druid who's also a halfling. Today, with me, we have Kylie Rolandsick, aka Jelly, our prodigious child thief. We have Ryan Daly as Gregory Chitbeard, our noble dwarven fighter. And we also have Samantha Lavangi as Winnie, the wandering elven bard. And of course, we have the wonderful PAX presenter, John Serpico, as our wise and humble game master. So please join us in the chat with any comments or LOLs. Chauncey, our faithful wizard, is teching our show tonight, so you may see him in the comments. And I will turn it over to John now. Please take us away.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Knights of Prospect. Hazel, Jelly, Gregory, Winnie, it has been a very stressful and emotionally exhausting week for all of you. Raz, your trusted friend, spiritual advisor, and adventuring companion, died during last week's mission to rescue someone from the villainous Laughing Companions. However, you all discovered that even though Raz is dead, his soul was trapped in the staff that Vil the Ranger has been carrying around and inadvertently killed him with. We're going to get to what you can do about all of that in a little bit. But as for right now, we are currently in the Elkcrest farmhouse, which has sort of become your base of operations. As Winnie and Jelly explain what exactly happened to Hazel and Gregory.
So, we had a task, a mission, as we usually do.
A mission, that's right.
It was a noble mission. There was a young girl. Her family didn't want her to go so far away for school, and she rebelled and she left and she went to join a thieves guild of sorts. Jelly, oh gosh.
The Laughing Companions.
The Laughing Companions.
Just a mischievous crew.
And so we came up with a brilliant plan.
Brilliant. With a trench coat.
Yes. Jelly and I were together, a trench-coated man, tall boy.
You would be so tall.
I had never been so tall.
Brilliant.
What a growth spurt. It went downhill though, as up as it seemed at first to be that tall for once.
So
I've never felt so low in the end.
We thought we'd pretend to capture Raz as people who weren't his companions to try to gain trust with the thieves. And Vil, she was dressed up as a mudman.
She's a mudman!
And she was doing a great job. She was doing such a good job pretending.
What is a mudman?
I'm not gonna cry.
What is a
They're
mudman?
They're like the lacrosse bros of the nature world.
Exactly.
Very toxic and masculine.
Very threatening. Anyways, we had Raz who was playing along, and then, long story short, a number of unfortunate events occurred, and we accidentally killed Raz.
A series of unfortunate events.
So let me get this straight.
Okay.
You captured the soul of our cleric in that thing, attempting to kidnap someone against their will. Because you received a note?
No. We were. They came to us in person. Well, it was more than Jelly. You go.
It was a mission. We were on a mission to reunite a family. We had direction, we had drive, we had purpose, we had our eye on that prize. And it was all fun and games, you know? It was all fun and games until Vil, it was one too many hits with that stick. It was
Let's take
Classic
him out.
crossbow.
Take him out of the thing.
That's not how it works.
Just take him out.
It's not how it works.
Do a magic on it.
I don't do a magic. That's not how it works.
Somebody does. Well, we'll find someone who does a magic, and we'll take him out.
My magic is songs. It's not going to help.
Do we have the stone? I can try talking to it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh,
God, okay.
nice. We have it. Okay.
Oh.
Hey, Stone.
Oh,
I heard you got my friend Raz in there. Stone.
Can you hear us, Raz?
You can hear, Hazel, almost like your own voice echoing, like you're shouting into a cave.
Oh, I can only hear me, y'all. Hello, Raz. If
We've
you
tried.
can hear me,
Hmm.
we still love you. I'm sorry you're in a rock. Love
Maybe-
Hazel.
And you're
Maybe-
certain he's in there and not just dead.
Oh, why would you say that? Maybe he's in there
Because
doing
people
a perfect...
die. That's usually what happens at the ends of someone's life.
Okay, well, listen. Okay, imagine it. Vil is holding a stick with non-magical properties. She hits Raz once with it. Does he die?
No.
No.
He is rather weak. He is a priest.
Have a little more faith. He's
That
not
was kind of
dead.
his thing.
It would be
Hazel, I want you to roll 2d6 plus your constitution.
Okie dokie. 7.
Okay, so that's a partial success. You are a druid. You are very much attuned to the earth, attuned to the winds, the water, the stone. And even though this thing is a soul stone, it is still a stone. And so you wanted to get something out of it. The sense you get is that there is one or potentially two voices in there. But you don't think it's the stone. You think it's something else. And by voices, I mean you can't really make anything out. It sounds as if, you know, you're in a big mansion, and in some room many hallways away, two people are having a conversation. It's almost more like you are getting a sense that someone else is here than really hearing anything at all. But the thing that's weird is you are pretty sure it's two different people, not one.
Yeah, somebody's in there, but it's 2 of them.
Who?
We split him in half?
2.
No.
It sounds like 2 whole people.
Thank
It's not
goodness.
just
It's probably his
Half.
god.
Oh, it might be Enterish.
Yes, that's the one.
Maybe.
He was always talking about him and to him.
That's probably it. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to do. But it seems like he's trapped in the stone. Maybe there's someone we could find who does know what we can do with it.
And so that's essentially what you all have to figure out. This conversation happened about 5 days ago. And the subsequent 5 days has kind of been a mad dash to figure out how exactly to reunite Raz's soul with his body. His body, by the way, is currently soaking in stinky, disgusting balms and herbs to preserve it. Essentially,
I
behind
assume
the
at Bill's house.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and Ville's garden is essentially a trench, and in it is a bog. And within that bog is Raz's body. You, Winnie, have the soul stone because after what happened, Ville did not want to have it anymore. So it's entrusted to you. Hazel, after you kind of determined that there was at least one, potentially 2 people in there, you took it to Chauncey, the young wizard that is also your adventuring companion, who essentially was able to kind of magically confirm it. There are 2 people in there. Presumably one is Raz. So all of you kind of spent the week researching what exactly it is you can do to join a soul to a hopefully well-preserved body. So you've got a ticking clock, but all of you ultimately have figured out how to do it. And we're going to figure out how right now. I'm going to ask each of you a couple of questions. The end result is going to be the plan that will come together. Winnie, there is either a magical device or a magical person that can allow the reunification of a soul and a body. What is this device or person called, and how does the process work?
So, it's a person. It's a person who lives in a remote village, not too far, maybe 3 days' journey from where we are. This person is a child, and I don't think even they know that they possess the power to do this.
Do you know the child's name or not?
I do. The child's name is Letitious.
Thank you, Winnie. Hazel, this is soul magic, which is incredibly dangerous, at least in this part of the world. Since you're new to town, you've been able to kind of ask important people about soul magic and, you know, kind of how it works without raising suspicion. You know, say, hey, I'm new around here. I practice magic. What do you think about this? So essentially, you are able to get a sense of what soul magic is and the possibility of acquiring it. I'm going to give you 3 options. 2 of them are true about soul magic. It is illegal, it is dangerous, and it is costly. Pick 2 of those.
It is definitely illegal and dangerous.
Yeah, that's...
Chauncey let me into the arcane college, and one of his professors is real weird. Lives down in the dungeon.
Yes, and this person who kept looking back and forth the whole time, almost theatrically, was more than happy to explain how this kind of thing works.
Real shifty. He was like, just the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Jelly, because it is illegal and dangerous, you've been able to essentially determine that there is, you know, you and Winnie have been able to determine that there is this child that's capable of doing it. And there's kind of just one child that is capable of doing this without apparently all of the crazy, wild stuff that Hazel learned about. So the trick here is what you have learned about Letitious or her village. What is a strange thing you have learned about either Letitious or her village that's going to complicate matters?
So Letitious is not somebody who you can just approach, look in the eyes, ask for something. You need to speak with her through her best friend, who is a tortoise. This tortoise is an integral part of her process and the connector between asking, the asker, the askee, in the process. And her village is rife with creatures, with small, slippery creatures comparable to tortoises. Think lizards, think snakes,
Awesome. Gregory, given all of this, what is going to be the biggest challenge in either getting there or getting it? Essentially, you know who the person is, you kind of know how to contact them, you have some idea of how all of this could work, but what's the big challenge?
Well, it's through... I can't believe I'm saying this, but there's already enough magic involved, and the fact that it involves children... Why are there all these magical children? It's disgusting. Anyway, look, it's in part of the Silver Kingdom that's... I don't believe it personally, but it's cursed. Oh, cursed. They say that, look, it's not real, but the trees are alive and they will deliberately confuse you or attack you to keep you from traveling through that part of the forest. Look, we'll just hack our way through it and go there. We'll cut a path. It will be fine. It's just overgrown. But that's what the small-minded villagers around here say. And they're idiots, but they say it.
Yep. That's the thick and thin of it, everybody. You have to make your way through a supposedly haunted forest to a remote village in which a child who has a tortoise as a companion can potentially reunite Raz's body and his soul. It's a heck of a lift. According to Chauncey, Chauncey and Vil both agree, you can't bring the body out of the kind of the bog to this village, especially because it's probably dangerous to get there. So you're essentially going to need to get there, kind of engage in all of this peril, get to Letitia, and then have Letitia agree to come back with you to Tower Town to conduct whatever needs conducting. Potentially in secret, because this is highly illegal. So that's the story. 3 days from now, you are all in the Silver Kingdom, walking through the woods. How are you navigating it?
We've charted a path. We're headed east by northeast. Basically a straight shot. There was up on the crest of the hill before the forest. See the other side. We camped, plotted it by stars, and we're basically straight away. Straight shot.
How many days was it, Winnie, that you said this village was
3.
away? 3. It's been 5 days. So there it is.
I'm sure it's just around the corner. Guys, don't worry. It's definitely...
There shouldn't be any corners. It's a straight path.
Well,
Straight path.
Just because it's a straight line from A to Z doesn't mean that the path to get from A to Z is straight. There might be twists and turns, which there have been.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going to ask for directions. And I'm going to go over to one of these trees. And I know people said they were haunted and mean and whatever, but we got to know where we're going. So I'm going to ask a tree. Hey, tree. How you doing? Is this the best way to get to our new friend Letitia's village?
Well, the tree just picked me up with one of his branches and is dangling me.
Oh, come on. I asked very nicely. You put them down. Put them down. Thank you. What was that all about?
Oh, my organs.
Are you one of them?
One of who?
One of the enemy?
I don't think so.
You don't.
My name's
think
Hazel.
so.
You look like them. You
Oh, well,
smell
that's
like
rude.
them.
Oh, don't smell me. I didn't say anything about your smell.
I don't have a smell.
You smell moldy. How about that?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Don't insult the tree.
I am engaged in a symbiotic relationship with all around
Oh,
me.
well, that's very romantic. Congratulations.
What
But
you are
anyway, I just
smelling
asked.
is companionship and teamwork.
Oh, that's nice. That still doesn't give you any reason to pick up my friend here and drop them like that.
Yeah,
Shame
you're lucky
on you.
I'm so nimble with cat-like reflexes. I landed on all fours.
Yeah, they're basically a raccoon.
You looked and smelled like the enemy.
All right. Well, we're not. We're not from around here.
Yeah.
We've been walking for 5 days. We're not going to smell great.
Yeah, I have a symbiotic relationship with my BO.
There's lots of symbiotic relationships going on, okay?
Prove it then.
I'm going through puberty.
Yeah, they got
Congratulations
some
to her.
preteen funk.
Or him. Prove that you are not the enemy to me. To all of us.
What is
And when the tree said all of us, there was a great shaking and rustling from every direction, as if 1,000 birds were flying through the branches.
What is it asking us to do?
Do you need me to attack the tree?
No, do not attack anything. We are trying to show that we are not enemies.
Oh. I know a tree song. I could sing it to them.
Is it a friendly tree song?
Sure. It doesn't even have any words. It's just a lot of like nice humming.
Oh, I think they'd like that. All right. And now, next to the stage, Winnie the Bard.
Can you ask if it's okay if I touch its trunk?
Oh, she wants to touch you. Is that okay?
Gently.
Gently.
Fine.
Soft hands. It'll be great. Okay. Winnie the Bard.
Winnie, 2d6 plus your charisma, plus 1 on top of that, because that was a great song.
Thank you.
Never understand elven music, nor would I want to.
12.
Okay. So there is a pause, a very long and unnerving pause, as you're waiting for applause or some natural equivalent. And then there's another great rumbling in the trees. And Hazel, the tree you were speaking to, eventually responds. I
Is
have
that a
not
good
heard.
rumble?
I have not heard a song like that in a while.
Ooh.
Do you like it?
In a good way?
In a good way.
He liked it.
I
That
was
makes one
wrong
of
in
us.
thinking you were the enemy. My friends were
you.
wrong in delaying you.
They did that on purpose.
Yes. It is how we defend against the enemy.
Oh, the enemy. All right. So can you point us in the right direction now? We need to find a little girl and a big turtle.
Hazel, 2d6 plus... Actually, this is going to be discern realities.
All right.
So 2d6 plus your wisdom, please.
Ugh. 7.
Okay. This tree gives you directions, not in any way that any sentient being would give directions to another one, like go up 2 blocks and make a right or anything, but it's more of a series of feelings and kind of visions. You can ask one question about kind of what you saw when the tree communicated with you.
So while we are walking here, what should we be on the lookout for?
The Laughing Companions.
Oh, crap. They're here?
Silver Kingdom, and you were deliberately moved off course. So instead of walking towards this remote village, you were being bent in the direction of the Laughing Companions forest fortress, which is where Raz died last week.
Oh, figs.
Of course. It's felt eerily familiar.
Might be good to get some vengeance.
Well,
That's true. Hey, Tree, have you ever heard that saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
I have
That's
never
good.
heard. I've never heard a saying before.
Oh, that's true. Sorry. Well, that's a saying. So now you've heard it. And so there are enemies too. Do you know that? We don't like them either. They killed one of our, well, they were complicit in killing our friend.
Hazel, the tree believes you. And what you kind of get in the form of communication this time is essentially kind of the route you mapped was going to ultimately lead you to like a pack of Laughing Companions. But now kind of the vision's a little clearer. It's almost like you're playing a game of telephone with the trees. This tree heard it from another tree, heard it from another tree, heard it from another tree. But kind of what you see in this weird, like, fractal image is like half a dozen Laughing Companions with axes and torches felling trees. The sense you get is it's like they're setting up traps or towers along the roadways that cross the Silver Kingdom, which jives with what Winnie and Jelly told you. They are highwaymen and they rob from people along the road. So apparently they are cutting down old growth to lay traps for passing caravans and travelers. And now you know where a pack of them are.
Well, that's just rude. They're just chopping down trees left and right, not even asking.
Yes.
Well, thank you for showing us. So I guess we can choose now if we can find them or we can avoid them.
Yes, indeed. The way to where you need to go is through them or around. I suppose it is up to you. So the question, therefore, is now that the wise and cursed trees of the Silver Kingdom are not actively trying to obscure the way to this village, you're going to be able to get there. The question is, do you want to avoid the half dozen illegal loggers, or do you want to barrel through them?
I say we move directly.
I think we could go directly.
Score vengeance along the way.
I agree.
Yeah, and I'm a trap expert. So I can
Raz's
always,
body is being preserved, but not for that long.
yeah,
Jelly,
he's gonna
you know
wither.
So if you're kind of cutting a path straight through and exacting a bit of vengeance on the way, what's the plan? It seems to me like there may be traps involved.
Yeah. So I think I could use my trap expertise to assess any obstacles in our way. And as we go, I could even inverse the traps to turn on them. We could use them against them. I'm good at this. Okay, let's do it.
I'm familiar with the term inverse.
Inverse.
Yes.
It's inside. It's like when you turn it inside out.
No, I said I understand.
It's when it is the opposite.
Yes, I know.
Okay, I'll explain it to you later.
I'm saying you do not need to do this. We should go now.
We don't have time for this. I'll tell you about it later.
That is what I am saying.
Okay, you need to stop yelling at me just because you don't understand. I care about you enough to say this isn't becoming. Let's do this.
Yes.
Okay, so the plan is essentially to use kind of the traps and pitfalls and watch posts of the Laughing Companions against them. So, Jelly, I want you to roll your traps expert. 2d6 plus your dexterity. Tell me how you do.
I got 7 plus 1 is 8.
All right, excellent. So that's a partial success, which means that you're able to kind of successfully find a great way to use their traps against them. But unfortunately, you were not able to successfully define the word invoice to Gregory, which is something that's probably going to haunt you the rest of the trip.
I know what it means. You'll
never understand me.
So the essentially the best possible location to kind of tussle with this logging team is they're currently building like this tower that kind of goes right up to the canopy of the forest, and you kind of stumble upon it in kind of the late evening before dawn, and it looks essentially like they spent a pretty good chunk of time building it and then like stopped for the night and are probably going to have to come back tomorrow to finish it. So essentially you have this like 20-foot tall tower, like wooden tower that you can kind of do whatever you want with, and kind of you can lay in wait for them. You could set it to collapse on them. You can kind of do anything really. So the question is kind of what do you want to do? Get into firing positions for an ambush or do something else? I defer to the group, of course.
So we have a classic turret trap. This is a really tall trap. All right, I say we come in from the sky.
Sky?
We ascend the turret. We have the advantage of an aerial perspective. I had that advantage when I was the upper part of a body in a trench coat. There's nothing like that vantage point. Okay.
Or just go upstairs in a 2-story building.
I'm saying we'll go higher. Do you understand?
Oh, I can go higher. I'm going to just shapeshift into a falcon real quick.
You, Hazel, shapeshift into a falcon. So let's roll your 2d6 plus wisdom and tell me what you get.
I got a 6.
Okay, so thankfully, your connection to the Earth is such that even with that failure, you're still able to do two things before you must turn back, and that would be your kind of default moves as a falcon. You could chase or you could scout. You could dive bomb someone. I would say that costs 2 instead of 1.
All right.
So those are your kind of immediate options. So Hazel, why don't you describe what it looks like for you to shapeshift into a falcon?
Oh, sure. So the forest floor kind of swells up around me, and then it whooshes down, and then I'm a falcon with tiny horns, and I'm just going to fly over and sort of perch on Jelly's shoulder.
Cool. So all of you kind of get up into this tower. Like walls are kind of being put up on it. It's essential, and it's along kind of one of the forest trails, which certainly makes sense for a group of highwaymen to build a tower near. So all of you are there, and you're kind of just laying in wait for half a dozen. So here's how this is going to work. In order for you to kind of get the drop on them, someone is going to essentially need to roll their wisdom to be able to kind of observe them as they approach. Or Hazel, you can spend one of your 2 moves as the Falcon to automatically succeed at scouting their location. Your choice.
All right, may as well go for it.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go scout.
So you kind of pop up above the canopy, kind of shooting through like the early dawn sky. And the wind kind of whips past your beak and over your tiny little horns, and you're kind of banking and moving. When you're an animal form, it's incredibly addictive. You're able to fly and soar and dive. When you're a black bear, you can smell everything. You can smell things for miles. You can swim faster. You can run as a bobcat. You can do all these things. And, kind of reverting back to your human form feels good because it's your true self. But at times it does feel limiting, knowing that you've experienced just the majesty of nature giving you its gifts. But the philosophical implications of that is a conversation for another time, because you kind of bank back down through the canopy and are kind of arcing between the trees and stopping on the occasional branches. And you do, in fact, see kind of half a dozen laughing companions, carrying axes and tools. One of them is carrying this like lantern that's looks like a furnace. It's essentially meant for starting a forest fire. And they're kind of making their way back, and you kind of hear them talking about what they're going to do. And then you kind of bank back and return. What that means is all of you will be able to do one thing before this group can respond in kind. So whatever that one thing is, you can tell me about it, and then we're going to roll it. Who has a good idea? Winnie.
So, there's a rumor that this forest is cursed, and I happen to know a great song that can chill someone to the bone and even cause some psychological or physical damage. I would love to whisper that song through the trees and get inside of the heads of those laughing companions.
Oh, good grief. You're going to teach the forest a song of pain to sing at them. That sounds pretty good. I want you to roll it. That's going to be 2d6 plus your... Well, normally it would be Constitution, but since you're teaching others, I'm going to let you roll your Dexterity. Roll it. Don't tell me what that is yet. So just have that number. Who else has an idea?
So I was thinking I could set up one of my classic crisscross ropey drop traps from the high position. And this is something where I'm going to create the drop zone. I'll set up a small table with with an offering of a few russet potatoes that I will prepare, and I wanted to glaze the potatoes in the oil of Tajit, which I have, which puts the consumer of said oil into a sleep state. That will make them more susceptible to the drop trap. They are sleeping. They're in a crisscross ropey entrapment. They are at our mercy in that way.
All right. That sounds awesome. I want you, Jelly, to roll 2d6 plus your Dexterity. don't tell me what you get yet. Who else?
I'm not going to do anything complicated. Want the big fire. Jump on him, cave his skull.
Sounds good. I want you to roll 2d6 plus your hack and slash, which is your strength. Do not tell me the number yet. And Hazel, what about you?
I'm going to do my best to distract them and lure them over to Jelly's trap.
Awesome. I want you, Hazel, to roll. This is going to, by the way, take you out of your falcon form when you ultimately do this. So actually, you don't even need to roll for it. You're going to automatically succeed. Okay. So we're going to go in the order that this all happened. These half a dozen highwaymen, they are, in kind of various states of early morning surliness, and they're walking through the forest towards this tower, kind of loudly talking about, how easy it's going to be to set a controlled fire here, and even if it's not controlled, they said they don't care. Ha 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 ha. They're talking about one of their most recent catches along the highway, how they lifted some family jewelry off a wandering traveler, and all of those things. At around that moment, they hear the sound of a peregrine falcon.
Ah! Ah!
And they look up and they see a peregrine falcon kind of in this banking dive towards them. And they all kind of look at each other and start taking off towards the tower. Jelly, what did you get?
I got a 10.
Awesome. Full success. So describe to me what happens next with them.
Oh, let's see. They're running and they're dipping and dodging away from the falcon. And as soon as they think they're safe, they've found a little pleasant clearing. Their stomachs grumble as their eyes land upon a beautiful display of diced russet potatoes that have a sort of a glistening golden glimmer to them. They look incredibly delicious.
Did you put this here? No. They say this forest is cursed. Yeah, this forest is giving us gifts. It's not cursed. Thank you, forest. And they begin eating the potatoes. Winnie, what did you get?
I got an 8. Might I sing the song of pain?
You might sing the song of pain.
All right, trees, as we practiced. Branches twisting in the sky, shadows casted on your eye. Some might say that you should run, but it's too late. Your time is done.
They're kind of scarfing down their potatoes and thinking about the weirdness of this moment when all of a sudden the trees begin to sing. And cutting through it, the high end of that harmony, is the voice of the elven bard Winnie. And it's the combination of this sleeping potion and this sound that causes them to begin to panic wildly as they're starting to slip in and out of consciousness. They're starting to look at each other confused and angry. A couple of them draw their swords, but one of them already falls asleep. The one with the giant kind of forest burning furnace kind of looks, blood streaming from his nose and his ears. Curse. We'll see what this curse does with fire. Gregory, what did you get?
7.
That is enough to kill him. So before
Usually
the kind of he cracks open the kind of the forest lantern. you sprint forward out of the tower and end the torment that he would cause the world with a punch from your giant cesti. The problem, and this is because of the partial success, is this flaming hot furnace is now kind of flipping up through the air and is about to land in dry kindling.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Gregory, 2d6 plus your dexterity, please. I'll give you a +1 because you're right there.
Plus my dexterity. Well, that negates the +1. Yeah, 6.
Okay. So, all of you kind of take this moment to see what happened. A group of very bad people have, over the last 15 seconds, gotten chased by a falcon towards an inexplicable forest feast. And as they were eating it, the forest itself drove them to cacophonous madness, led by a choirmaster elven bard. At that moment, they essentially terrified themselves to death. All of you kind of took that kind of like half second, like, oh, all right, yeah, goodness, vengeance. And then you literally see Gregory trying to prevent a forest fire from, kind of catching this burning furnace. Gregory kind of slaps it up into the air. Gregory, you take 3 points of burning damage on your arm. And now we've kind of got a volleyball situation. So who wants to do something about it?
So I'm gonna run up and grab it and say, "Just hey, fire! Can you calm down a minute?"
Hazel, just 2d6 plus your dexterity.
My dexterity, oh no. All right, that's 10.
Okay, good. So you're kind of, you've just rapidly mushed back down from a peregrine falcon into yourself. And you were kind of experiencing, as always, that moment of, oh, if only I could be a falcon forever. But then you realize that having arms and legs right now is a great thing. And so you kind of book it over there. Oh my God, they are the best. And so you kind of book it over and you grab the furnace and you kind of ask it to stop. And it immediately kind of, in the weird voice of fire, says, oh, sorry.
Okay, sugar, thank you.
Thank you. And now you're just holding a cool to the touch furnace lantern. Yeah,
Wow.
There you are.
Or water.
I didn't have to use my drop trap.
Oh, well, that's good.
They essentially were frightened to death before they even fell in.
Well, you should probably invert the trap so that no one else gets injured by it.
Yeah, I'll exvert it back into my pocket.
No, you would simply be inverting it from its current state. The word still works.
I'm not just... You know what? I appreciate you.
Do it. My arm hurts very much.
You know what? My drop trap, if I take the crisscross ropiness and I slather it in some water, then I could wrap your burning limb in it. And it would be like a cooling agent.
Does it smell like death?
Well, sure.
It always smells like
Bill
death.
probably made it.
Yeah.
So.
That's right.
So
wrap it up.
Yeah. Jelly binds your arm, Gregory, and it hurts, but it's probably going to be okay. And you kind of get the cestus back on it, and you all kind of continue through the forest without the trees kind of deliberately obscuring, the roots and kind of moving around to confuse you. All of the landmarks that you expected to see are now becoming visible, kind of cresting the hill and going down. And you eventually make it to this incredibly small, incredibly secluded village. Each of you take a sentence to describe it. The caveat is this is probably one of the weirdest places you've ever been.
There's
It's got like cobblestone streets, but instead of actual stones, they're just like they're toadstools. So the streets are like squishy.
there's frogs leapfrogging over one another in a playful fashion. And there's a snake talking to another snake. And they're one is wearing a pair of glasses. I don't know why.
I thought it was maybe because the sun is going down, but you look up and the entire town is covered in, I suppose those are, it's a bit far away, tree branches, leaves, sort of a sheet of tree. I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, and the sound is muffled. Even as we talk to each other in kind of a low hum, our voices don't carry.
Mm-hmm.
It is odd here. There is a logic to this place, this weird natural logic. As if this place sprung forth because the forest insisted it needed to, like some kind of covenant between the living things of the woods. Hazel, you probably more than anyone else understands why a place like this would exist. But even to you who can grasp its purpose, it's still so odd to see it, this amalgam of what a human or an elven village might be, but made of forest and for the animals. You see Letitius, because Letitius, the child, is the biggest living thing here that's not a tree. Letitius is not human, nor elven, nor dwarven. Letitius is not a halfling. Letitius is a young dragon sitting on this odd, twisted tree in the middle of this forest. And she is observing your approach. At the base of this tree is a tortoise, also observing your approach.
Well, hey, I'm just gonna talk to it.
Yeah,
See
you
if
should.
it.
You should.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give him the fireball. Maybe he'll like that. Not in a threatening way. It's like a gift.
So the tortoise, you kind of get down and start kind of speaking in tortoise, and you kind of hand the tortoise this ball of fire. The tortoise does two very unexpected things. The first is essentially take the ball of fire with gratitude and kind of hold it up with its little tortoise arms. The dragon kind of leans in and inhales it. The other strange thing is that the tortoise responds to you in common tongue.
Oh.
I appreciate the gesture, but I can speak your language.
Oh. Well, that's convenient. Everybody, you don't have to use me. You can just talk to him.
I got that.
Hello, tortoise. If that is your preferred name, let us know if you would prefer to be called anything else.
Yeah, Gregory, what's the tortoise's name?
Dith.
You may call me Diff.
Diff.
It's lovely.
It's gorgeous.
From the looks of you, you came a long way to our corner of the world.
Oh, we've been walking for like a week, and we have been told that we do not smell great. So sorry about that.
I'm impressed you made it this far, and as such, I will not describe what I am smelling.
Thank you. That's very kind.
You made it
Yeah.
through the trees, did you?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we made some friends along the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are these friends?
Oh, the trees. Yeah, and then we
Hmm.
made some more enemies. But, you know,
Mm.
the enemies, my friend,
This is
that
my
whole
tree.
thing.
Yeah.
Diff cranes its kind of head upward and emits this kind of low rumbling gurgle. And then there's this long pause. And then a great rustling of the trees. And then another long pause.
They say something nice.
The trees said something nice.
Oh, it's nice.
They vouch for your benevolence and appreciate the revenge you exacted upon those that were killing them.
Dith and Letitius, we came here for a reason. We have a request, and I pull the stone out of my satchel and I present it to them. Within this stone is trapped the soul of a dear, dear friend, potentially someone else. We haven't been able to determine who the other person is.
Could be a god.
Could be. So we heard that you might help us retrieve the soul from this stone and return it to its body, its physical form.
And the body's preserved in sort of a combination of ointments and things that will sustain the flesh.
It's a bog.
It's a bog.
The
Like an
value of a
inverted
bog.
bog.
It's the opposite, and it's inverted.
I understand completely.
Finally.
A number of things reveal themselves over the course of this conversation, which you have with Dith and only Dith. Letitius is just kind of watching from this gnarled tree, observing all of this. The sense you get is that Dith is old. And by old, I mean old. Older than the forest's old. Oldest living thing you've ever seen old. Friendly, but very, very old, in that way where when you speak to Dith, nothing you say surprises Dith. The other sense you get is that Letitius is indeed very young and very, very powerful, but not necessarily in the way you think of power when you think of dragons. Breathing flame, burning down villages, tearing masts off of ships. The power of Letitius is something different. Young, primeval somehow. The thing that becomes kind of apparent to all of you is that Letitius or Dith, or maybe both of them, are expecting something. They're kind of waiting for you to say or do something that you have not yet done.
Please?
And so Dith looks up at Letitius, and Letitius looks down at all of you. Letitius nods. And now it is Letitius that speaks. Kind of directly into your minds. It is very, very, very unnerving, to the point where you all take a bit of mental damage from it. There are indeed 2 souls in this soul gem. And in order for you to take both souls out, you're going to need 2 bodies. You only have 1. And so we're going to end it right there. Congratulations, you prospective Knights of Prospect. You have found a young dragon that is willing to save Raz, and whoever that other person is. So you all have a week to find a body. Great work, everybody. And great work, all of you, for listening and watching at home or wherever you are. We, the Knights of Prospect, will be back every Saturday at 8 o'clock right here on 2MB Studios. If you love tuning into Twitch for sake of comedy, all you have to do is like and or subscribe to them and get a sense of their whole schedule. There is great comedy literally almost all the time of all sorts. Follow 2MB Studios. I demand it as the game master. Also, if you like Knights of Prospect, be sure to follow us on Facebook by looking up Knights of Prospect, as well as on YouTube. This was, I believe, episode 16, and we have the first 15 up and archived on YouTube. They're all about an hour and delightful to either watch or just listen to. Everybody, thank you very much, and have a great night. Oh, also be sure to stick around at 10 p.m. tonight for the debut of a new show here on 2MB Studios with some of Boston and New England's finest comedians. Good night, everybody.